How to control your emotions during a difficult conversation. Difficult conversations are everywhere. In marriage, friendships, business, literally everywhere. So what happens when a conversation starts getting difficult and you feel like exploding? Well, usually you explode and things go south real quick. Today, I'm going to teach you how to control your emotions and stay calm in situations where you normally would react differently.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I want to share with you these keys, but first I want to tell you a story of a time when I had to overcome my emotion. This is a hard one because it was in my own marriage when I had been the one that screwed up, but I had to approach it from a place of understanding, whereas before it was all defense. And here's the thing. Sometimes we're prepared and we have to think about how we want to react, but 90% of the time we're unprepared and all of our defense mechanisms kick in, and that's why we react with such emotion. Luckily for me, I did prepare, and the steps I will share with you will work in either situation. But one might be more tricky than the other. So my marriage ended, and the reason it ended was because of me. And the process of getting to that end was difficult. And I had cheated on my wife many years ago, and I had not told her. It had been a decade. I'd been living in a space where I was hiding from her, and I realized I had to tell her the truth. I had to let her decide whether she wanted to be with me or not. And so we hired a therapist, and they had a whole process, and they set this up for us to understand how to best deliver this hard information. I have been unfaithful. It is a difficult conversation. Nobody wants to have it, but they had a method of doing it, and I was able to prepare myself emotionally for the feedback that would come. Her devastation, her betrayal, her trauma, all of these things were things that I knew were coming as I faced my biggest mistake in my life. And I did this, and she was, upset, understandably. She wondered what was going on. She had questions to ask. I was prepared. I could sit there and listen, and I knew that I was at fault, and I could take it because I was prepared to. This was the initial stage. This was the first part. I was prepared. I understood what my emotions were. I understood what hers were. I could see it. I could let go of assumptions. I could let go of everything, and I could face this. Now, there's a book called Crucial Conversations, and in Crucial Conversations, they actually have templates of how you can engage in a very difficult conversation with an employee or anyone that you need to have a conversation with that's going to be hard. And it breaks down all of the things that you need to do. This is a great thing to do if you have the time to prepare. You sit down, you analyze what you believe the story is that is going on. What is the story you're telling yourself about why this is difficult with this person? Is it true? Do you truly know that everything that you're assuming is actual fact? If you don't know, then you need to start to consider how to get curious and find out what truly is motivating this other person. The other thing to think about is how could they be acting in a way that bothers you as a sane and rational person? Because likely, in most cases, they are a sane and rational person. They are somebody that has a reason for why they're behaving the way they are. As you begin to think that, you can begin to think of scenarios that would get them to the place where you're feeling like, hey man, we gotta work this out. Then, when you finally approach this person, you approach them free of defensiveness and deeply curious, looking to understand them, not to be hurt, first to understand them. And when you walk into a conversation looking first to hear and to understand with true curiosity and stay in tune with what your emotional state is, you can navigate that conversation with real poise. You can surprise yourself. That's the trick when you're prepared. Not so hard, but even then it's still tricky. But what is really difficult is when you start a conversation that takes you by surprise. When somebody says something to you that initiates a difficult conversation that you were not prepared for. This is where things get hard. How do you face that with poise? How do you face that with calm? And you can't always. And there are times when I have gotten into really difficult conversations and I've done well, and there's times when I haven't. But I'm going to give you a time I did well. When I do well, what I do is I hear that conversation, and if it ignites in me a sense of defensiveness, a sense of anger, a sense of frustration, I first take a moment to understand and feel that those emotions are in me. Once I understand that those emotions are in me, I then can recognize that I am making assumptions about what I think this person is saying to me. In that, I can then get curious, and I can say to myself, what are these assumptions and why am I feeling these emotions? So as my curiosity engages, then I can use my curiosity to begin to ask questions around what's making me angry. So for example, if somebody came up to me and said something that I didn't like, I could initially say, wow, that's really hard for me to hear. Are you attacking me? Because that's a good question to ask. If you're feeling attacked, find out, are you attacking me? I have only had one person ever say to me, yes, I am attacking you. And that was good to know, right? That let me understand what was going on. Almost every single time when you ask a question like that, if I'm feeling attacked and I say, hey, I'm feeling attacked, are you attacking me? It will immediately shift the tone of the conversation. And the person is like, oh, no, I'm not attacking you. I'm so sorry. This is just a concern I have. And then you can reset the tone of the conversation. Or if you're feeling confused, you can say that. I'm really confused. I don't know where this is coming from. All of these things require you first to address your emotions. They require you to understand what's going on inside of you and dealing with that and remaining curious. Or you can then understand that in your curiosity, oh, I felt like you were attacking me, right? These are the assumptions that we make. And then when you're dealing with those assumptions with a direct question that is curious, the person that is in the conversation with you can begin to understand that they're safe to talk to you because you don't engage with anger. You don't meet them with force. If they're angry with you or they're frustrated with you, you can meet with them with calm and curiosity, and that will deflate their own sense of urgency and frustration and anger. So after I had divulged my infidelity to my wife, the fallout of that, the trauma that must have caused, that did cause her, came up in her life on many, many occasions with me during the period that we were trying to work through this. And she would get mad at me for things that made no sense to me at all. And I would fail many times to meet that with curiosity because I knew it was wrong. I would be like, that's not right. I'm not going to take that, right? And I would think this to myself. But when I learned instead to engage with those moments with curiosity, to recognize I felt defensive, I could then approach the situation much better. I could hear without defensiveness. I could say, are you attacking me? And she may say, yeah, I'm attacking you. You're doing this wrong. And I can say, okay. Or the answer would be like, well, no, I'm just really frustrated. I'm really angry because, and then we get down to the core of it because I'm getting curious. And as you get curious and as you force yourself to look into this space, you are able to let go of those defensive mechanisms that come from fear. And the fear is generally feeling inadequate or feeling misunderstood or feeling like they are lying or feeling like they are wrong, right? All of these things come up. There's a whole bunch of things that you could be feeling depending on the conversation. But understanding how they're hitting you, that's really important. The curiosity has to be something that you get after you let go of these assumptions that you're making of whatever it is this person is speaking to you. And this is tricky to do, again, when you're surprised by a conversation. Stepping into that place of curiosity can only happen first when you look at yourself and the emotions that you feel, and then why this person is igniting those emotions in you. What is their intent in this conversation? Getting to the core of it, getting clear. This will calm you. This will allow you to stand there and hear. And then you start to feel your emotions drop and you're open to what the information is that is being told. This is really, really powerful when you can do this. And the real key is looking first to understand over being heard. When we get surprised and we start to defend ourselves, We are trying to first be understood rather than to understand. We're defending ourselves. We move into argumentative mode. This is not a space where you can make any headway. The space where you win is where you listen first to this person. Take the time. Set aside your arguments. Dig in. Don't look to defend yourself. Look to completely understand. Difficult conversations come up in all kinds of categories. And if you are looking to understand how to have a difficult conversation, specifically in the workplace, I got a video for you that you got to check out. This is something that could really help you. It'll help you in any other space too, but check it out. If you like the video, go ahead, please. Hit the bell, subscribe, and make some comments. Let me know what kind of things you've done and what kind of conversations you faced. Where have you been successful? Where have you failed? What are your triggers? Take a look at that. Let me know. If you want to have some one-on-one time with me as a coach, check out my link in the description, and we can set up some time to chat. And you know what? Here's the video coming up right now. Click on it, watch it, enjoy it, and you know what? Maybe make some comments there too so we can learn from each other.